Every child you pass in the hall has a story that needs to be heard. Maybe this time you are the one that was meant to hear it. Did you know there are issues within our schools that are affecting children every day? If your answer is yes, have you wanted to help but didn't know where to start? Well, stay tuned because you're about to find out how you can help change the lives of our children. In this world that's filled with so much noise and information, how do we really stand out and be who we were really meant to be? In this podcast, we focus on injecting you with positivity, optimism, and strategies, all centered around helping you be who you were always meant to be in business and life. Be inspired to show up in your own skin to learn strategies, habits, and skills from others as we share our own life journeys and stories. There's no other you, and you know yourself better than anyone else. So be prepared to take away habitual tidbits, tactics that will encourage you to pursue and live your life, not the one others want you to live. Welcome to Stand Out Be You, where you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be you. She's a best-selling author, world traveler, and an engineer. You could actually be touching or holding or have something in your house that she designed if you shop at places like Macy's, Babies R Us, Toys R Us, Walmart, and more. However, today we're talking about a new product that she is designing, and she is making an impact and trying to get this movement going in order to help change the lives of our children and teachers. Get ready to hear her story, because it is a standout story, and hear how she's helping our society. Hi, I'm Tequila, and I am so excited for you to hear from our guest today because she has a pretty awesome story, and I want you to hear all about it. Margot, with her partner Spencer, are both engineers and have started a movement with one goal in mind. And you know, it's always my favorite, this one goal, and that's to make an impact. They are both making a difference with a very important cause, and that's to help children. Without further ado, listeners, I give you Margot. Margot, welcome to the show, and help me fill in the gaps. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Hi, Tequila. Thank you for having me on the show. My name is Margot Sandy. I've been developing products for the last 10 years, and recently my friend and I decided to create this project. It's called the 828 Movement, and our cause is for education equality. There are so many schools across our country that are in need, and they're forgotten. Teachers a lot of times don't get the due credit they deserve. So we've created a bracelet called the 828 bracelet with some historical significance behind the name, and we are donating to urban area schools all over the U.S.
That's awesome, because I did a little bit of research, and in researching it, I went to your page, and the bracelet is absolutely beautiful. And I think anytime you attach jewelry to a cause and you add children to it, that's a triple win situation. So tell me a little bit more of how did this all come about? How did you and your partner come up with this idea to make this happen?
Sure. I mean, first, every cause seems to have a bracelet. So why not partner education equality with a nice looking product? It's something that you're not ashamed to wear, that you can only wear on certain occasions. It's actually a pretty nice looking product. But how we came up with this was, we were friends and always thought, how can we partner, a product with something more? And originally the product was going to be almost like a Black Lives Matter bracelet. And the rings on the bracelet were going to represent some of the, most recent figures. But, unfortunately, in doing the research there, you would have limbs filled with bracelets and rings to represent a lot of the lost lives. So we expanded upon that and wanted to recognize past generations. And on a personal note, My grandmother actually was an inspiration for me because she was a math and science teacher. She was a community leader. She was a college graduate, nearly made it to the triple digits this year, but unfortunately passed away. But this bracelet, it represents, it's called the 828 bracelet, and it represents August 28th. And August 28th, so many important things happened. Slavery was abolished in the UK, which led to American abolition on August 28th. Martin Luther King gave his I Have a Dream speech on August 28th. Emmett Till was murdered on August 28th, which was a rallying cry during the Civil Rights Movement. Hurricane Katrina hit on August 28th. And then Obama accepted the Democratic nomination on August 28th. So we honor the state, we honor the past generations and the efforts that they have done for equality, and also, recognize the current things that are happening and also a hope for the future, because we believe that change is possible. And with this bracelet, we are not only saying, hey, there's a problem, but we're offering a solution by donating a percentage of the profit to schools across the U.S.
I think it's absolutely awesome, because when I did start looking into your story, one of the individuals that really came to my mind is my grandmother. And I'm sorry for your loss, but at the same time, I like that you're recognizing individuals of our past, because our past, we have a lot of stories that I think need to still be continued, and my grandmother this year turned 101. So
Oh, wow.
She was the first person I thought of when I started reading into your story and the cause, and it started tugging at my heartstrings there. So I thank you and Spencer for doing something like this. And what's interesting, you and Spencer have quite a lot in common. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Like, you both have a lot of similarities.
Sure, yeah. Well, first let me just touch on what you said, because I think it's really important about these past generations. Part of what I'm doing with social media is to have a place where you can recognize past and present entrepreneurs, inventors, business leaders, artists that you don't necessarily see on the news. There's a lot of negativity there. So I wanted to create a place to honor people doing great things. But yeah, Spencer and I worked at Brookstone developing product for their store and all kinds of gadgets. And we just ended up working at that company later in our careers. Come to find out that we went to the same university, Rochester Institute of Technology, and we're both upstate New Yorkers. So at the end of the day, we're just a couple of friends. We had different paths to get to where we are now, but a lot of crazy similarities.
Yeah, I love that part of how your stories end up coming back to one unique project that you're both doing together. So let me ask you, Margot, what challenges have you both faced with trying to get this project up and going?
We know we have a good product. We have a good story. We recently started a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo. You just search 828 Bracelet, you can find us. But the biggest thing is just, we're not celebrities, and we're trying to change that. We're talking in talks with a PR company that can help get our message and brand to the masses. But the biggest thing is just seeing what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and that's what, in creating Standout Be You, that's what I wanted. So you completely fit in that, because there's like the individuals who would like to say non-celebrities, but in my mind, I've always said everyone's a celebrity. But being able to get these things that everyday individuals are doing that are standing right next to you. There's amazing things that are happening all around you. So what would you think that you would do differently so far? You've been doing the project, you've been, getting a little bit more publicity out there and getting people to know who you are. What would you do differently?
I'm the type of person that believes that everything happens for a reason. And product development, it's a stressful field to be in, but it's also, incredibly exciting because you're creating something new. And when you're creating something new, mistakes are bound to happen, but they also lead to other things, or other things that, could be better for you. So Yeah, where there's things I might do a little differently, might advertise a little differently, reach out to different audiences, sure. But it's led me to here. It's led me to talking with you. I don't regret anything.
Now, with that being said, you've put together this, and I think an engineer is like an amazing individual. What would you say is your superpower?
My superpower would be the ability to adapt to change. So my background is I spent 10 years in corporate America, and last year I decided that I wanted something more, and I set out to travel the world, and I started my own business and businesses actually. And along the way, you have to be willing to, it's not necessarily a straight path.
Yeah.
And accept that there are bumps in the road and being okay and not freaking out when things are, might not be going the best is probably my superpower.
Yeah. That's great, Margot. And why are you trying to make an impact in the world? Why are you doing it?
Well, I consider myself fortunate on a number of levels. One is I have a great family, and I've always been taught to give back. And not everyone, might not have the same situation that I have. Just a good, loving family, meager means, but I've always been taught to give back, and that's what I want to do with my short time here on Earth.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a study that I was reading about that, and that's when individuals, part of when they're their happiest, is when we're able to really help individuals and we're able to give back. It's a huge undertaking that you're taking on this, but it's absolutely needed. Because one of the things I say is that you can't help or you can't control who your parents are and where you're born. You just can't. Yep. And you're taking on that with this particular cause, and I love it. How do you think that success overall should be measured?
I want to say when I'm considering myself the most successful or the happiest, it's when determined by the people that are surrounding me, my friends and my family. I've met some great people along the way, and, my success is measured around just the people around me, the people that surround me.
Your community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, the individuals that are around you and that support you are the individuals that will, in the end, be there for you and have your back. Absolutely.
Yes.
Margot, what are your hopes for the 828 movement? Where do you see it going? What do you want for it?
Well, unfortunately, there are so many schools in need. And very often, education is not a topic that's talked about. And I want these kids to know that, hey, your voice is heard. And to not only keep donating, but, offer programs, tutoring programs, or scholarships where that other people have the opportunity. So it's not just a one-time thing. It's not just we have a bracelet and that's it. There will be more products. We made our first donation on August 28th to a school in Birmingham, Alabama, Carver High School, and we're still in talks with them now. And right now, they were so inspired to be a part of the video and what we're doing that the students started creating their own 828 designs. And our hope is to have a Carver High School T-shirt that we can sell on our website, and then the school can have a way to continually be funded. So yeah, it's giving these kids a voice is the goal.
And that's an amazing thing to do, because everybody should be seen and everyone deserves to be heard as well. So where could the listeners go to learn more about the 828 movement and to actually get a bracelet?
You can go to our website, 828movement.com, and just select pre-order. You can find us on Indiegogo and search 828 bracelet, and the same tagline, 828 movement, for Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're on all those as well. So
great marketing.
Check us out there.
That's great marketing. And I'll also link all of those websites for the listeners in the show notes. So, Margot.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Before we hop off, I like to do rounds of personality questions. And it's just for us to get to know you a little bit more and to hopefully dive a little bit deeper into your story and your causes, so forth and so on. So this first one has to do a little bit more for my kids, because I like individuals who have experienced life, who have done things for the communities, so forth and so on. So what would you today tell your 10-year-old self?
Well, at 10 years old, I believed that I wanted to be a toy engineer. And 13 years later, I became a toy engineer at Fisher-Price.
Wow.
So I would tell my 10-year-old self to keep dreaming, keep working.
Awesome. And what's the farthest city that you visited from your birth city?
Okay, so I was born in Rochester, New York, and this year I traveled to Thailand. So to give you an idea of where I've been, I started in Thailand. I went to the island of Malta. I spent some in Colombia, and then I was in South Africa and Egypt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're a traveler. I love traveling. So I was in Thailand. That was actually last Christmas trip. But I have to get to those other places that you've been. Awesome. So this next one's a little bit different. If you could be any animal in the world, what animal would you be and why?
Oh, that's a good one. The nerd in me is going to come out. I was always a Ninja Turtles fan, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I guess I would be a turtle. They've got that, the shell is protecting them from things.
Yes!
But they're just kind of moving along.
We're the same. That's my animal.
That's great.
And they're wise beyond their years.
Absolutely.
So we talked a little bit when we first hopped on, and this question I cannot let go because I've had so much attention because of this. What is the story behind your name?
So Margot is a French spelling, Margot. My mother was an academic vice principal, and I believe I was named after one of her students that was a very good student, and she really liked the name. But I love it. I love it because before the listeners didn't get a chance to hear us talking beforehand, but I was like, how do I say it? And then the T is actually silent, and one of the things that we agreed upon is a T is the good letter, and T also is with tequila. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So Margot, I definitely thank you for coming on today and allowing us to spend time with you, hear about your story, hear about your cause, and hear about your journey. And listeners, I will link everything in the show notes, but for sure, please go to 828movement.com to take a look at what Margot and Spencer have done and how they're trying to create or wanting to create a difference and make an impact in our communities. Margot, do you have anything else?
Just first, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. And check us out, 828 Movement. I'm telling you, we're going to do some big things. So come along for the ride.
We're excited to see you. Thanks, Margot.
Bye.
You can either tell your own life story or have someone else tell it for you. It doesn't matter what time of year you start to map out your life goals and dreams. What matters is that you started. This is your year to win. Stop denying what's yours by stepping into what it is that you want and deserve in life. It all starts with a plan, and when you have a plan, you can map it and live it. I have a special gift for you to help you collect your wins and begin to do what matters to you most. Go to tequiladodard.com/gift to grab it. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today on Stand Out Be You podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you could take the time to share this episode with someone you think would be touched as well, please go ahead and do so. Or If you know of anyone that has a good story that needs to be shared, then go ahead, let them know as well to reach out to me. Also, if you are motivated to do so, please go ahead and leave a great review. I would so appreciate it. And tell us what you think about what you've been hearing. Also, you can leave me a voicemail by going to tequiladodard.com. It will help us so much with keeping this podcast going and helping to reach more people. Until next time, remember to stand out, be you, and that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you.